Before 1970s, the situation in the waters in Stockholm and around Stockholm was very, very bad. And I think one of the most, shall we say, tangible signs of this was that from sometime in the 1960s, people were not allowed or were not supposed, actually they were prohibited to swim in the waters around Stockholm. If you walk around in Stockholm with all the waters and all the small islands, you can imagine that this was a very, very severe degradation of the living environment. There were quite a number of industries and polluting industries in the very center of Stockholm, very close to the water system, and most of them didn't have any treatment. So there was virtually no, shall we say, insurance against the different pollutants coming into the water body. Yeah, I think that the awareness about the water situation and generally about the environmental situation, not only in Stockholm water, but in the city as a whole and in the country as a whole, it increased very much in the 1960s. So I think there was a gradual increase in the awareness, both among politicians and among the public, that we had a severe problem, both in the waters as well as in the living environment. The Stockholm success story, if we want to call it like that, it started after, she was in connection with the environmental legislation in 1969. So from the end of the 1960s and then from the 1970s, 1980s, there has been a successful and a number of different steps taken to build treatment plants, mechanical, of course, and then biological, chemical treatment, and then their connections to both the public as well as the industry, negotiations with the industry to implement different measures. You know, for the industry to change production technology will cost money. It was a cost for the industry because they had to invest in new production technologies. So I think initially the industry was a little bit reluctant to be involved in efforts to change the situation. And if you listen to people from the industrial sector today, many of them would say that this kind of change that they underwent from the beginning of the 1970s actually helped them to innovate, because they were then able to, shall we say, get rid of the old production technologies, and they could invest in new production technologies, clean production technologies, which has helped them to gain an advantage in an international perspective. And at the end of the 70s, less than 10 years, we could clearly see the result in terms of we could start to use the water for different activities. You could even drink the water in Lake Mälar, which was not thought, which could not be done before 1969. Then I think the very big step came in the 1980s with more information campaigns. And the attempt was then made to include the public, the ordinary households and the different, the people who contributed to the pollution in Stockholm. So both in people's clothing, in people's what we eat, what we do at home, there are always small amounts of different pollutants which will come out into the water cycle. And that's why we also pay a lot of attention to the day-to-day activities, day-to-day life of ordinary people. So you could say that the perspective is to have an integrated management, where you have the technical aspect in the treatment plants, in the industrial and production, but then also gradually to also include the consumers, so that they would be more conscious about their role in contributing to the pollution. We have the annual World Water Week here in Stockholm, which attracts some 2,500 participants, and from 120 countries about, and from many organizations, from private sector and so on. One of the most concrete information is to say that actually the participants, they can go out into the Lake Mälaren and drink the water today, which is quite fantastic, I think. We have managed to show the world that it has been possible to actually to improve the situation very much, both within Stockholm as well as in downstream areas of Stockholm into the Baltic. Water is a loan. We take water out from the water cycle. The water comes with the rain, and then it gets down to the land, and we use it for different activities within Stockholm. But we always give it back to nature. So in that perspective, water is a loan from nature or from people downstream. I'd like to take one quote to end this conversation. I think that is, businesses cannot survive in a world that fails. And that is a very important comment, because it means that if businesses, if industry, if agriculture should continue its operation, they must also contribute to a clean environment. Because if the water is not clean, if the environment is not clean, then it will be very difficult to operate on a long-term basis. So we are all, in that sense, in the same boat. All must contribute and all must take the responsibilities.